There's a couple of people online live, so I'm open to any questions at this point, which will be useful for anybody who's got any questions they want to ask about the DIP-FA. So use the chat box there, tap in your questions, happy to pick those up as we go along. So any questions coming down the line for me to answer. I had an interesting question yesterday actually from somebody on email, and she's thinking about becoming a financial advisor, but is worried about the business side of things really. And she said, how can I get myself set up as a financial advisor? I'm already a mortgage broker. And the key, of course, is to know about the network that you're currently with. If you're a mortgage advisor, mortgage broker, you might be a self-employed dude with a network. Now, the network you're with needs to give you permission to become a financial advisor. As you know, the FCA, for any kind of product advice, you need separate permissions. So mortgage advisor permission, equity release is a separate permission, a financial advisor is a separate permission. So hopefully you're with a network that allows you to move on up to that. If you're not, you can switch networks. It's not a big deal. It's a bit of a palaver, but it can be done. So you'll need to think about that. Now get your network, get your permissions, and they'll guide you through CAS. Remember, good networks are quite happy to take you through CAS, because they will benefit when you are fully qualified. That's how they make their money. And they want you to be a long-term member. So good ones look after you, give you coaching. We've got a conduit which we can pass you on to a network which I thoroughly recommend. And there's many others, of course, that will help you. So that was the answer I gave to my friend. She already has a business. She's set up as a limited company. I said, just keep the same business. You may want to change the trading name. It doesn't really matter. Or, of course, you could leave your mortgage side of business bubbling along, get some people in, maybe some mortgage advisors, and you could then move over to the financial advisor arm. So that was an option that came through. Another question I had yesterday is, can you get employed positions as financial advisors? And yes, you can. There are companies that take on employed financial advisors. They tend to want experienced financial advisors, wouldn't you? You don't want to be taking on too many trainees because they cost a lot of money. And we're talking about a firm here that doesn't have that many employees, so their costs they have to be careful of. So many of the bigger ones will take on academy members. So people like Open Work, Quilter, St James's Place, they're all very good, and they all have these academies, they call them, which are like training schools, where they take you through the exams and they get you into CAS. They'll charge you for it. There's now such thing as a free lunch, so they'll charge you for it. But you get a position from them. Obviously, careful who you join, because you need to look at the long-term methodology. And once you get experience, of course, you can then move around and get different jobs if you want to. So that's something to think about as well. Another question we had was about payments. We do have on our system a PayPal in 3, so you can move the payments over 3. It's a bit like the Klarna, isn't it? We've got one of those things on the website, so you can do that as well. And that's an easy way of managing your payments. Questions has come through from our audience. What do you mean by reduced fee for the LIBF? Well, the LIBF, as I mentioned to you, charge £1,050. They also have portals and all sorts of things as well. But if you get training from other people, you can actually get a few pounds knocked off of their fee. So head over to their website and find that out. It's not a lot. It's £50 or something like that, but it all adds up, doesn't it? So there's a little bit extra. Otherwise, you see, they'll sign you up for their portal and things which they've got, which is perfectly acceptable to do, of course, but you have to pay for that. Remember, there's now such thing as a free lunch in life. So that's what I mean by the LIBF's reduced fee. That's a good question. Well done, that one. You don't need training if you don't want to, of course. You can just sign up and just get the information and do it via them. It's perfectly okay. But we found that a lot of people find it a bit of a challenge, a bit difficult. It's different type of training, different type of exam. Maybe they're working full-time and need the motivation. We'll provide all that. We give the structure, because you just go along with our structure and you end up passing the whole thing at the end. And then we can help you to segue over to become a financial advisor with advice skills, sales skills. We often do coaching for people that are struggling initially, and we help them out as much as possible. Because remember, our job here is to help as many mortgage advisors become great mortgage advisors, and then eventually diversify off into financial advisors as well. That's what we do. That's what I do. That's what my My world is about now. I've been in the sector for 40 years. Can you imagine this year? 40 years. Seems like a long time. I've got a lot to pay back, and I do it all online, so I don't need to run around the country anymore, which is great. You hear a lot of these BDMs, you just go from hotel to hotel to hotel. I used to do that, but not now. I want to pay back as much as possible over the next 10 to 15 years, and that's what we're going to do. Help as many people as we can. Good, good. Other questions I had is, how tricky are the exams? Well, they are level 4. They're not level 3. CMAP's level 3, you see. This is level 4. It's just that notch upwards. And it's tough. Of course it's tough. You have to work hard. Remember how many hours did I recommend it was? It's something like 300 hours, wasn't it? Which you have to do, which is a lot of hours of study. It's a lot of work. But you learn some great things. It's interesting as well, some of the depth that you learn as well. You can later on go up to chartered status, or level 6, I think they call it, if you wanted to. And that's something you'll probably want to think about doing in a couple of years' time. A lot of the very prestigious IFA firms, they call them chartered financial advisor firms, have gone into this level 6, which you could do later if you wanted to. But as a holistic financial advisor, looking at protection, pension planning, investment planning, savings, later life lending, the level 4 is perfectly adequate to give advice. Another question's come in now. On the dates, am I right in saying the course begins 2nd of October and first Friday Zoom is 1st December, so that would be the time frame to study and sit FUSRI? Yes, between those 2 dates. Quite right. Somebody's just said that on the chat box. It's a 9-month program. The deadline, 2nd of October, by the way, is the LIBF. You have to sign up for the LIBF before the 2nd of October, otherwise you don't get into that cohort, as they call it. And then the first 3 months is your FUSRI exam. So October, November, December is when you're studying your FUSRI. And remember, we've got all those online support to help you with that. Then after that, from sort of December, January, February, you again get into the coursework. So as you can see from the first dates there, Friday, 1st of December, it will be the first coursework that we're doing for you. So December, January, February. And then March, April, so it will be the final exam. So it's exactly what you need to do. Yeah, good question. Well done, well done. Getting quite a few questions from our live audience. Any more? Happy to answer them. Any other questions you might have to ask me about these things? Interesting question yesterday on email. Got a lot of people email me questions actually about things, but I just had another live one. When is the next cohort for LIBF after the October cohort? They'll do another cohort. They do 3 a year. So the entry dates, I'm just looking at some of my slides over there then. The next one will be not until April next year. But I'll check the website. We'll be promoting the next cohort as well. So there'll be 3 next year as well. So that would be the next cohort if you think October is a bit too soon, which I totally get. I totally understand that. So, and you know, you're on our member database, so we'll email you with new dates. But just head over to the LIBF website and just look it up. They've got all their dates and things. So 3 a year is all they do. 3 a year. Because it's a coursework key. Everything's got dates attached to it. It's all pre-arranged exam dates, etc. It's not like the CMAT where you could take that anytime you wanted to, can you? So if you think it's a bit too soon, hold on to later this year, and I'll keep you posted of dates. But this cohort's not too bad really, because you've got the autumn to do the FUSRI, and then this autumn for mortgage advisors is still going to be slow. Don't expect a lot of business. There'll be product transfer and remortgage business. And by the way, you've got to get good at that. If you're not good at that, we did a video on that last week actually, on how you can sell mortgage MOTs, which are product transfer and remortgages, to your existing client base and new clients as well. Get referrals on that basis. Clients are buying the product transfer route because it's quicker and easier. No affordability. There's plenty of benefits why they do that. You need to latch into that. Take the bullet with lower fees. Maybe even get rid of your fee, because if you just click a button on a product transfer, you probably don't justify the fee. If you're remortgaging, completely different. I get that. So you want to guide the customer through that as much as you can. You need to make some money, but the purchase market will not pick up until probably spring next year, might even later part of next year as well. Interest rates will still creep up a little bit, by the way. So take time out now this autumn to get your fuzzery out of the way. Start doing your coursework around Christmas, January. It's fine, plenty of time. And the final exam next year. It's not a bad time scale to get done. Not too bad. Great. Any more questions coming in for our live audience? Can't see any more coming in. I'm happy to take questions on email. Again, this is being recorded. It's coming up to half an hour now. Happy to take any question on email. I've got 2 weeks to go, of course. So if anyone's got any questions they want to just email me, happy to take you through. It's a big decision on your part. If I were a mortgage advisor right now and qualified, had a good couple of years, I'd be serious, and I had a young family maybe, I'd be seriously looking at my future. Because you need to look at how the market's changing. You need to know what's going on. One thing I'm able to do now, with the knowledge I've got and experience I've got, is I'm able to see what's going on over the horizon. Because you look at all the changes, the hard changes, the soft changes, obviously technology, regulation, etc. And you're looking over the horizon now, what's going on. For example, Consumer Duty. People all thought that was just treating customers fairly on steroids, To a degree it is. Good customer outcomes, and we've had for years anyway. But it's this fair value thing that's having a massive impact now. A lot of financial advisor firms, wealth managers, are cutting their fees down now. The fees for managing people's money. It's typically 5% up front and then 0.5% every month or every year, just on a sum of money. That's what advisors are earning. And they're cutting them back. SJP cut theirs back. A few others are looking at it. And the FCA are looking at that as well, because they're asking them to justify. They don't care what you charge, the FCA, obviously within reason. They just want you to give value for that, that's all. So the wealth manager model, I'm not sure if that's always there for the future. I think a good quality, holistic financial advisor, she's able to do all the areas of mortgage, protection, pension planning, savings, ISAs, investments, etc. To customers that are clients of hers, she can look after them. Yes, she's got to do suitability reports and compliance, etc., but that's fine, you're used to doing that. It just opens up everything, particularly the later life lending market, when you can talk about pension planning as well as the equity release on the property. The FCA are on equity release, and you read about it last week. They issued their findings, and it's pretty poor. We're doing a live stream in a week's time on it. It's pretty poor, the industry and equity release. The FCA have said it. So they're changing that as well. So you'll find that you have to deep dive into affordability for clients, for example. There's little things like that. So a financial advisor can do that. She can talk about the pension income the client's getting. She can advise them around drawdown or AFP+ or whatever. Mortgage brokers can't touch that stuff because otherwise they're illegal. They're not giving the right advice. So I think to be able to deal with all of this with a long-term client that's willing to pay you fees and commissions or whatever is the way forward. Definitely the way forward. And you can use technology and all the AI to do the heavy lifting for you. I mean, nobody does reports on their own. They use AI for that. Nobody does sourcing of fund management. AI does all that for you. But you're the person that talks to the customer. You're the conduit between you and all the technical stuff behind you and all the software to this customer that is not financial services orientated. And you communicate. You talk to them. You're a human. They trust the human. Massive, massive changes. And I can see all that. It's crystal clear in my head as to what's going to happen in the future. And I just want to share that with you as much as possible. Okay, a couple more questions just come in while I was waffling on about future. Will you run CAS as well? No, we don't do CAS. The only people that can do CAS are principals or networks. They're the ones that have authorization with the FCA. The way it works is like this. As you know this from your CMAP as well. At the top there is the FCA, who control the whole thing, of course. To be able to do business, you have to be authorized by the FCA, of course. You know that. You can be directly authorized, and that's when you get a firm who are directly authorized with the FCA. That's how it generally works. You might well be an appointed representative of a firm. The firm could be a network. The firm can be a principal firm, it can be a financial advisor firm, doesn't matter. Now remember, the FCA give permissions for different advice. That's the whole point. So you have mortgage, you have equity release, you have financial advising, you have later life, you've got all sorts of different permissions. Protection's another one. And the idea is your authorization is you get different permissions according to your authorizations. You want a good network that does all the authorizations. You as the AR can get it all. They are responsible for giving you CAS. CAS is not an exam. There's a lot of people on the online will tell you it is. It's not an exam. It's not a qualification you can get from a training body. You know, it's something you've got to get. It's like a driving test. You've got to get it from the firm, and they do that for you, which of course costs money. It's labour intensive. We can help you with sales skills and advice skills and all sorts of things, but you still got to do it for a firm. So that's a really important question. Well done that person with that question. Do you offer support on the 3 DIPFA LIBF sessions per year? Yes, we do. That's a question from one of our people online. Yes, we do. We do. We've supported the 3 cohorts this year. It's a big decision on our part because the first few cohorts we didn't get huge numbers of people, so you know it's costing us to develop this. But the third cohort we get a bit more interest. Next year we'll do the same thing as well, because you have to build the interest, build the referrals. So yeah, we're going to support this probably for the next 10-15 years. So plenty of time there to think about it. So if you're not wanting to do it this time, it's fine by me. We can support you next year. Stay on our member database though, so we keep you informed of things that are going on. That's really important, isn't it? That's a great question. Lots of really good questions coming in from our live audience. Any other questions anybody wants to ask me at this point? About anything, really, you want to ask. Is England going to win the Rugby World Cup? Well, I don't know the answer to that one. I don't think they probably will. Well, they did quite well actually last week against Argentina, but I think that was backs against the wall side. I think we're good when we got our backs against the wall, aren't we? Stubbornness. That's the way we roll. I think South Africa will win it, but anyway, I didn't think you're really worried about that too much, are you? A friend of mine's gone out there on his motorbike to watch all the matches. How cool is that? All right. Okay, so we'll wrap up then, and we'll wrap up the recording as well. And remember, if you've got any questions, just let me know. Happy to answer those for you. And have a great Saturday, whatever is your plan this late September, because the weather's pretty okay today. I think it's going to be quite nice, which would be nice. So it might be a barbecue or two for you, which you might enjoy. Other than that, I'll speak to you very soon.